पेरा दे पेरा दे क्या चेहरा दे लो माँ चेहरा दे माँ चेहरा दे माँ Yesterday you gave me idli. I thought today you will rest. आज सांबार बना दिया. वाह वाह. But कल I didn't expect you. I thought you were making चाय छोटा मोटा. इडली बना के दे दिया. वाह वाह. वापस डालेगी ऐसी डालेगी मेरे को có đấy nè về với ai tôi lại rồi कल के लिए है ना चाहिए कल तक के लिए हाँ बस तो नाल की बन गया आलसी रोज रोज हर 2 दिन में ऑर्डर हो रहा है बस छड़ा अभी जस्ट 2500 का ऑर्डर किया क्या मतलब क्या है फिर अरे इनके उन्हें मिल लगा व्हाट वी ऑर्डर लास्ट टाइम इतना बिल हुआ 2500 तो वो पूरा नहीं बना चावल वो चावल ही बना फिर तो फ्रिज में सब बड़ा है हाँ इसको बाजी सब
ബാജി അതല്ല ഞാൻ വാങ്ങിക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പം ലാസ്റ്റ് ടൈം വന്ന ക്യാരറ്റ് ഗെറ്റിംഗ് ഓവർ ബിക്കോസ് ഞാൻ പണി തരണേ ക്യാരറ്റല്ലേ सब्जी बड़ी तो करना परवल जैसी आदमी पड़े रहे अरे ना तो रमतिया ना तो बिल पैसा के जमा होमतिया अपना खुद का खाना चाहिए अन्ना
ये कैमरा ऑन है मेरा ऐसा मत घूमो प्लीज
नाले कांटालो ഒരു കപ്പ് ടീക്ക് വരുന്നത് പഴങ്കി വരെ ഒരു കപ്പ് ടീക്ക് വരും बाकी कॉफी ना होना है
तो रात को करते थे अभी धूप में काट के ला देगा Mommy, you keep changing my profile picture. Do it, but I am forget, bruh. Oh, चलिए सर. So we gonna read up some. Mamma mia, mom. This game is gonna be hey guys, we are live on YouTube. All subscribe. We are live on YouTube. Lion virus. Is that a lion that's been removed from the game?
Your turn to pick.
What do I pick? What do I pick? I will pick. Blah blah. Blah. Oh, let's pick. That's What is the guide for the Crystal Maiden? I don't need any sounds because I've been listening to something. Mamma mia, mamma mia.
Hello friends and welcome to my guide on how to play Crystal Maiden. She is one of the stronger supports right now, so I really recommend you play her. But I gotta dispel some misinformation about her first, because if you think about her incorrectly, you're not gonna play her to the most effectiveness. She is not some weak aura bot, okay? If you're a new player and your friend said, oh, play Crystal Maiden, you know what you're doing, you'll just give us mana. True, but it's very lame because she's more fragile than a carry player's ego and her mana pool is tiny, so you really have to know what you're doing or else you'll waste your spells, you'll feed easily, and it's not going to be any fun for a new player. You can still learn to play her, especially with the help of this guide, but it's going to be a little harder than someone more survivable. For experienced players, you cannot think of her as this weak, do-nothing support. She actually has a lot of aggressive early potential with some of the strongest level 2 power spike in her spells, and so you need to be out there looking to crush people who disrespect you as a weak support. In order to do so, you can follow a skill build that looks like this. So by level 2, you want a point in Crystal Nova and Frostbite each. The order depends on the game. Crystal Nova is more generally useful, and I recommend that if you're new to the hero. It is AoE, so it's great for the bounty rune fights when lots of heroes are showing up. It's good in the lane versus 2 heroes. You can hit both of them, and you can use it to secure the range creep. So just lots of general value from Crystal Nova. Frostbite is better for individual target aggression. So it is a root, which is arguably more powerful than a slow, and it does 150 magic damage, which is 40 more than Crystal Nova for a single target. So if you do the root setup, like you're against a mobile hero with an escape, root setup into a teammate's follow-up stun, that can be a good reason to take it for first blood. Or in the laning stage, your partner has a stun, so you Frostbite, we want to kill this one guy, the other guy can't do anything about it. Frostbite that guy, follow-up attacks, follow stuns, that's when Frostbite can be better. It's also good if you're just trading like 1v1 with the support. All you need to do is keep them away from your carry. You use Frostbite, it's going to be more individual damage, plus it disarms one of only 2 roots to do so, so they can't even fight back with their attacks. It's also good against summoned heroes, especially ones that are worth more money like Beastmaster's Boar, because this lasts 10 seconds on creeps, and so you'll kill the creep, you'll get gold and XP for it. They don't get to do they don't do anything with the creep, they can only try to deny it. It's not so good against someone like Nature's Prophet, who has tons of summons, and just killing one doesn't matter that much, and it's not even worth that much. It's kind of not worth your mana, but like the creeps from Chen and Enchantress, the Beastmaster Boars, that's when Frostbite level 1 can be pretty good. But again, by level 2, you want 1 in each, because together that is 260 magic damage, and due to the low cooldowns of both spells and the crowd control times, as long as you don't overlap them, you can typically get a second round off. So that might look something like Frostbite, nearish your tower, not under the tower strictly speaking, though that would be great, but near your tower, so that 1.5 seconds pass, then you hit them with the Crystal Nova. Now you have 5 seconds of slow. They run, they're trying to run, you're chasing them, then Frostbite is up again, so you Frostbite, and then after 1.5 seconds, guess what? Crystal Nova's back up. So now you hit them with another 5 seconds of slow. So that's 520 magic damage just from yourself, not including any blood grenades you bought, and not including any of your own attacks. Or don't forget, you're with a lane partner. So now your lane partner might have been doing a ton of attacks and a ton of spells in that time as well. And so you can easily imagine, like 520 magic damage, that's a lot to work with, right? That can kill a lot of heroes depending on what else your carry or your offlaner brings to the mix as well. That's why you really want this by level 2. Sometimes you can take Arcane Aura at level 2. This is when you have a really bad lane typically, and all you need to do is Crystal Nova, the range creep every lane to secure some gold and XP. You're just trying to get by. It's not really what's happening right now in this meta, so it's pretty rare to do this, but it is something you can do. But generally you want it at level 3. Let's say this is around 3 minutes, right? Up to the 10-minute mark, let's say that's the end of the laning stage. So you got 7 minutes of time there. This is going to provide you 1,000 mana for yourself, about 500 for your lane partner if you're next to them the whole time, and then about 170-ish for your allies across the map who aren't near you. So that's just a lot of free mana for your team, and like I said, you do so much with these spells that, you know, you just need the mana to do it. Now sometimes, if you want to go full aggression, especially if you can buy Mangoes and Clarities and no one else on your team needs it, you can get a second point in Frostbite at level 3, sometimes a second point in Crystal Nova if you want more AoE damage, but then like by level 4, you definitely want an Arcane Aura point. But oftentimes, just 2 points is enough, so something like this. Then max your Frostbite, because right now there's a lot of mobile heroes that are popular, so Frostbite's really strong. You get it on a low cooldown, you can use it more often. Plus, if
F4,
that kind of
stop.
fight doesn't happen, it works
G.
on creeps, so you can use it to farm the creeps to keep up your golden XP as you move around the map. It's also going to make your ult more powerful because you can root people for longer near your ultimate, whereas Crystal Nova, slow kind of helps, but like, you know, root, they literally have to stand there and take it. Freezing Field in the past you used to skip because you couldn't handle the mana cost of Freezing Field plus spamming these two spells in teamfights, but now there is the tier 1 neutral choice for your neutral items. So in the past you got like, here's the broom handle, right? This is what's left. It's like, oh, this doesn't help me at all. But now you get to pick one of several neutral items that can help you with your mana pool and mana regen. So you can reliably get off your ultimate, plus there's Lotus Pools, you can pick up any of those for the extra mana burst. Now you get the, because we're maxing Frostbite, right, longer times near your ult for more damage. So it's a lot easier to get value out of your ult at level 6 compared to the past. You may skip it at 12 and 18, especially if you're dealing with a lot of cancels that can stop your ultimate, or your like silencer mana burners, or making it difficult to have enough mana for your ult. Then you can leave it at level 1 because it's 200 less mana, right? And you still get the full value of the armor and the slows from the spell. You just get less damage. But if the damage isn't that important to you, which as a support, right, the damage in the early game is more important than the damage in the late game. You're more for utility in the late game, then 1 point is fine. After that, Crystal Nova max is most common. You can take a point here in Arcane Aura, and sometimes like you can take it at level 4 as well, especially if your team is very early mana, like tempo focused, like with enough mana they can do a lot, like just carry me guys, you know. 2 points can feel pretty nice for yourself as well, but a lot of times you can get by with 1 and then just go like max Crystal Nova. Rarely you will see like max Arcane Aura, like really your team is very mana dependent and they'll carry you, but most of the time you'll see something like this and then max the Aura last. For your talents, 250 health will help keep you alive, you're a squishy support. Extra cast range will allow you to position further back while still being useful. And then the Freezing Field damage, you're not usually there like for damage like I said, but the ult actually does do an insane amount of damage if you're allowed to ult the whole time. We joke about Carry Maiden, but the attack speed is actually quite good against Phoenix, against Undying. Things where you just need to attack and the damage doesn't matter, you just need hero attacks to land. Attack speed is pretty good for that. And then 25, I've been talking up Frostbite. We already got the cast range, so more Frostbite duration is going to be really helpful. If maybe you've been mega'd and you really need wave clear, then the 240 Crystal Nova damage might help you instead. But yeah, most of the time you want this Frostbite duration because it's going to be 4.5 seconds of disarm in the late game, only a 6-second cooldown. And so, sure, the enemy's got BKBs and dispels, but it's not easy to always have those up when this is only 6 seconds. So, really good talent for the late game. For your starting items, there's going to be a lot of consumables for Crystal Maiden, and you're going to have to figure out the balance between a lot of consumables and then buying your long-term items. But blood grenades and mangoes are great. Definitely want to start with at least 1 or 2 mangoes, I'd say, and then buy more as you need them, because as long as you can get kills with the mangoes, right, they're going to pay for themselves. Maybe you break even as the support, but your core is going to get kills, get space, and they're going to farm up a lot. So it's worth it to buy the consumables as long as you can get kills with it. If you're just buying them and you're only able to harass, it's kind of like not worth it as much. Iron branches round out your low stats. If you need the sentries, salves, extra, you know, regen, that's all fine to buy. The stick can be great because your team's going to be casting a lot of spells. The enemy probably is going to get sticks, and so they're going to cast a lot of spells. So the stick can be pretty good as long as it makes sense. From there, Tranquils will solve your health issues. You've got your aura for mana, and so now you pretty much never have to go back to base. It also gives you a lot of move speed, and Crystal Maiden's pretty slow. The magic wand is really nice for the magic burst, or the mana burst, so that you can use all your spells in these team fights. From there, I'd probably just like pick one of these. They're all pretty solid for her. It just depends on the game. So Pavis has a pretty nice build-up. The armor and health make you very tanky in your ultimate, and now that the physical barrier calculates reductions, that's extra value there too. Mana regen pretty solid overall, and you can use it on your teammates, so very nice item. You got the Glimmer Cape if you're dealing more with magic damage. You get the magic resistance. You get to go invis while you can't channel your ult, so if they don't have detection, or they have no like AoE stuns, then maybe they can't even target you and cancel your ult. So that's pretty cool.
My God, but he was very
Drums
low.
for yourself, strength, intelligence, and movement speed, all stats
His
she really
own
likes.
creeps blocked
And then
him,
you
man.
buff up your team. So like you're probably not going to use the attack speed very much, but your allies who you're trying to like play very tempo with, if they're more right click focused in this early game
F4
stage,
stop.
then you want the drums of endurance to buff them up. And then Force Staff, you know, classic support item if you need that mobility against certain heroes. The stats are all nice for you, so great item. From there, Boots of Bearing, kind of just an extension from Drums and Tranquils. And if you get the Shard, it's really cool because you can just like zoom real quick. So that's a pretty fun one. Solar Crest if your team's got a lot of physical damage, if the enemy team's got a lot of physical damage, and especially if you've got some negative armor on your team because it combos well, or cancels out the enemy's negative armor, then this is pretty cost effective. Even just a casual medallion instead of going for the full Solar Crest can be worth it. If your ult is doing a lot of work, BKB can put a lot of pressure on the enemy team to choose whether they focus killing you or focus killing like your cores, for example. So when you're having a lot of success with your ult, BKB can be a good way to go about it. And if that's really working, you can go further into it in the Aghanims. But this is pretty greedy, I would say. But it is quite strong against like summons heroes and illusion heroes in particular, who frequently don't have a way to cancel your ult, but they can kind of like ignore you a bit. So if you make it stronger, the Aghanim Scepter works out really well. Reposition, so frostbite lockdown, so that's good. But also, if you're getting killed a lot, you can stay way back in the fights with the Blink Dagger and only show up as needed to be in the perfect spot to use your spells, and then ult. Ghost Scepter has dropped off in popularity because it kind of does something similar that Pavis does at a worse build-up, and you like the stats from Pavis more than Ghost Scepter. But Ghost Scepter is better against physical damage because you can't take any physical damage, but you are weaker to magic damage. So if they are very physical damage heavy lineup, or someone like PA who daggers you when you die, you can't, you know, take any amount of damage, then Ghost Scepter is better. But if it's like a mix, or like you're not that worried about the physical damage, then Pavis is going to be better to deal with some physical damage, but also give you stats for other things. Or maybe you go for like the Glimmer Cape instead and go invis and hope they can't right click you, right? These have more general utility and they help your team, whereas this is very focused on yourself, but the best versus physical damage if you need it. I mentioned earlier, so Faded Brooch, Tumbler's Toy, Arcane Ring, Shovel, all really solid. Fairy's Trinket, kind of okay if like there's nothing else good. Pig Pole for the stats, Occult Bracelet for the stats, and the magic resist and some mana regen. Lance of Pursuit gives you a lot of mana, but you can't really, you're not going to be using this passive very much. So like if you have the choice, I'd pick one of the others. But if you're stuck between like Lance of Pursuit and then like, you know, Spark of Courage, Duelist Gloves, Broom Handle, things like that, then yeah, maybe I'll go Lance of Pursuit. And then if you're having like burst issues, you're getting killed a lot, then the health from this and the health regen's kind of nice. But usually you have more mana issues, especially because you're getting Tranquil Boots typically, so you don't really need the regen from this. But it's not too bad. From tier 2 onwards, you're mainly focusing on things that will help you stay alive, because at this point you've probably started to buy some items that help your mana pool, so you don't need it to come from your neutral item. If you still want it to, that's okay. Things like the Philosopher's Stone are great for you, but like Vambrace for strength and magic resist really helps tank you up. Same with like Pupil's Gift, armor, strength. These are all solid items, and you know, the further you go, things along that nature, right? You get mana, you get a shield, all this stuff will be very nice. A couple things you may want to know about your abilities. Crystal Nova, your Q ability, provides 900 ground vision for 6 seconds, so you can use it to see up cliffs. This is the most useful when dewarding. It's one of her strengths as a support. You can also use it when chasing enemies through trees. You can provide vision with Crystal Nova to kind of like chase as you go through these different tree routes. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again because it's so good. Frostbite disarms. Don't forget. It can also be dispelled, so don't spam it too much if it's like you're in a lane with Abaddon, LC, stuff like that. When you want to use Frostbite to jungle, don't Frostbite in the camp and then try to kill it. The other things in the camp are going to fight you, and you don't have the best stats, so you're going to take a lot of damage. Instead, attack the camp and pull it away, and then as the creeps turn around, then you use Frostbite. That way you're left alone from the creeps. I did a little early, but you can see they're going to turn around, and now I'm not going to get attacked. And you get the extra benefit. If there's a magic resist creep, like in the Centaur camps, then your target is no longer going to get that aura if you pulled it far enough away, so your Frostbite will actually start to do more damage. I have a lot to say about this ultimate, so buckle in. You see this giant circle? The damage is not guaranteed within this entire circle. There's a lot of random chance, but also mathematical calculations that you can do here. First, in this circle, everyone will be affected by a move slow and attack slow. I mean, all the enemies will. And that is instant, and it lasts for at least 1 second. So even if you die immediately, you will apply this very powerful slow for 1 second, and that can be pretty good for your team. You will get bonus armor that helps you survive against physical damage, so that's cool as well, and that applies instantly. Now let's get to the damage part. The damage happens through random explosions. Each explosion has a 320 explosive radius. There's actually a second circle in the middle that explosions cannot happen. It's 195 radius, so it's like about here, I think. So you'll never see an explosion happen like right in the center of Crystal Maiden, but she can still damage people she's right on top of, because when an explosion happens like right here, the explosion radius reaches into the center, so that is all fine. You can actually hit targets a little further outside the circle, because when an explosion is centered right at the edge, the explosion radius then happens a little further like out here. People near you are more likely to get hit by multiple explosions, because the way this works is that this circle is actually split into quadrants. So straight down the middle and on both like horizontal.
Yeah!
So the top right quadrant will get the first explosion.
Holy
Then
shit,
the bottom
what's
right
that
quadrant, then
fucking
the bottom
flow,
left,
man?
top left, and so on.
Woo!
It'll just keep going clockwise. And that means that
my
people in the
cock.
middle are more likely to get hit
Suck
by
my
explosions
cock,
from
bitch.
each quadrant if they happen near the center, whereas people on the outside
Come on,
can
that-
only be hit by explosions
Okay,
in
here.
that particular quadrant. And so you can see after channeling the whole time, the dummy target on the
What the
far
fuck is that
outskirts
fucking
of
flow,
my ult
man?
only took 630 damage in total.
Fucking
Whereas those in the
hell.
center are close to like 2,000, 1,500, right? So people closer, and I'd say like the middle or closer, will take the most damage. Middle and outside will take less damage. You are still going to do damage, and 630 is still pretty respectable for, you know, like a level 6 ult. But this is why Frostbite combos with this really nicely, and when the enemy doesn't have a way to cancel your channels, is because in this early moments, like your level 6, fights go on, you see them use stuns, you can immediately like try to get close, Frostbite, and pop your ult. And they'll be rooted there for a while and take tons of damage, and even if you cancel your ult right here, between Frostbite and your ult, we just did 810 magic damage to a target, let alone if we throw in Crystal Nova, if allies are attacking, or if our ult gets to go even further as they try to run away slowed. You can see how you can easily rack up thousands of damage pretty quickly. When you're ulting, you can use items like Boots of Bearing or Drums of Endurance, and then like Shadow Amulet or Glimmer Cape, but you cannot use other items during the channel. So make sure you use these items like Ghost Scepter, Pavis, or maybe your BKB before ulting if you want those defensive benefits. This changes once you get your shard.
Fucking bitch.
Now when you ult without the shard, you can just
Fucking
stop by
bitch,
pressing
man.
S at any moment. And you cannot stop by pressing your ultimate, because it actually just goes on cooldown. By the way, I highly recommend having this setting on if you're playing Crystal Maiden or any channel support, so that you don't accidentally cancel your ult by just issuing a move command. You have to press stop to stop your channeled ult, and you can see why that would be pretty useful. Once you get your shard, this changes. So now you can move around during your ult. You can use items like Pavis and Ghost Scepter, and you can move. You can't cancel your ult through pressing the stop command. You have to cancel your ult through pressing the ult button again. So sometimes as people leave your ult radius, you do want to stop channeling and start chasing them and use your other spells. Make sure you don't get caught off guard trying to like still press stop to cancel your ult, and you're like, why isn't it working? That's why it's not working. The shard also changes the mechanics of certain enemy spells. So I think it has to do with spells that issue a stop command. It doesn't like ever say in the description, but it's just how the mechanics work. I don't fully understand this. But say I'm channeling my ult with the shard. Now things like Treant ult won't cancel it. Things like Kunka's X won't cancel it. So you don't have to fully know why or which ults do this, which spells are like this. I'll pop up some here that are listed on the wiki. But essentially, once you have the shard, some abilities won't cancel your ult, and that's pretty cool. Despite talking up her ult so much, you don't have to use it for damage, and that'll be the hard part of playing this hero. You need to know when to stay at the edges of fights, just keep spamming your low cooldown spells, your items, and other times you gotta get close with the freezing field to have a lot of impact, and I think that's why it's tough for new players who don't know what to look for, the stuns, the silences, to wait to see if they're down, or to know like, oh yeah, I should just force them to use it on me, and then my team will be good. But there is some extra value of like, I did show you, it
Yeah,
does a
yeah,
lot
just
of damage
fucking do that all
surprisingly.
the
So
time.
other new players
Fucking
won't know
bitch.
to expect that, and you can pick up some easy kills. So
Oh
whether you're new
my
or
God,
experienced,
this
she is a
guy.
good hero. Once you get the feel for it, it might take a couple games. But I promise she is pretty strong, even if your first couple experiences are maybe dying really easily and it feels bad. You just got to learn that positioning, and once you do that, you can have tons of impact with this hero. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll
This
see you
fucking
in another
idiot.
video. Bye.
What the fuck did he even say, man? Like complete crap. What the fuck? He don't even wait.
Hello
and
friends
say-
and welcome. I've got something wild for you today to try out in this new patch, and that is Clink's support. Wait, please, don't report me yet. Hear me out, please. Listen, give me a chance here. The rework, I think, actually made him kind of viable. Think of it as Enchantress in the laning stage with very powerful right clicks and a slow for aggressive play, or if you have a weak laner, you're just getting them through by harassing a ton and giving them a decent lane. Then you were like a Ricky who just scouts out the kills, finds the people, the skeletons you leave behind are great vision.
Look
You don't
at
have as
this
much
shit.
lockdown with the sleeping dart and all that, but you don't have a weak period like Ricky did prior to 15 minutes and the shard. You scale much better, you provide more damage, and
Plus
you
I'm being
scale
cracked all
into
the
that
time.
damage a lot better than Ricky did.
Can you
And then
fucking
once you find these
disclose it?
kills, or the enemy's avoiding you and you've just been split pushing, you provide a lot of tower pressure like a Shadow Shaman or Jakiro. So we have all these things mixed into this one hero, and it's honestly felt pretty good. I've played it 6 times, I am 5-1. It's not my idea. I do want to give credit to CML or Mavis. Several people sent it to me that he had
we
been
directly killed
trying
him,
some
that's
Clink
nice.
support in his pubs, and I'm a man of science. I hopped on that
Yeah, this
immediately,
bitch is so
and it's
annoying
pretty
and-
good. It's a ton of fun, and I think it really works well
Yeah,
in the
that's-
chaos of this current patch. I don't know how legit it will be going
Holy
forward,
shitty
but
fucking
think about your
hell,
pubs,
dude.
guys. You know, people are all over the place doing whatever. Clinks thrives in that
How
kind of
long is
environment.
that chant gonna
So,
stay?
I think it's a lot of fun. Let me show you some examples of how this works. In the laning stage, you're going to play like Enchantress, where you just harass a lot with your right clicks, enabled by Tar Bomb, which is his new ability. And you pretty much cast it on someone. It will do a little bit of magic damage. It will slow them, and every time you attack them, you will get bonus damage as long as they are in the little Tar Bomb effect,
the fuck
and for
is
2.5
this shit? How can
seconds
they
after
fucking
they
see
step
me,
out of it,
man,
or
all
it
the
fades
time?
away. So you can see here, you don't really like directly
whoa,
engage.
whoa,
You just
whoa.
constantly poke and whittle them down. And eventually they get low enough that you can maybe get kills because, everyone
Yeah,
thinks
fuck
you're
that
griefing
bitch.
your own team, the enemy team. They're not taking it seriously, and then they step a little too far forward. You slow them down. I buy a blood grenade to
Fucking
combo this
bitch
effect, especially if
moaning
you're
like,
off
"Oh my
laner
God,
or
my
your carry, because I've tried it both
commander."
4 and 5.
Fucking
Have any
bitch,
form of
man.
aggressive
Holy
potential.
shit, the
You don't have a stun,
fuck
but you
ability
can
is
double
so
up the
annoying.
slows with blood grenade and tar bomb. But sometimes you don't even need it. I've gotten kills without the blood grenade just because I eventually whittle them down and they don't expect the tar bomb slow. You kind of see here.
Is he in the
Here's an
game?
example. I think Monkey King gets away here. Nah, just kidding. He's super dead, right? Level 2, you're going to take Death Pact, which he's kind of had before. It's been reworked a little bit here and there. But Death Pact allows you to instantly eat a creep. Level 4
No,
or
man.
lower, which if you don't know, you can click a creep and see its level down here in the bottom left. So level 4 gives you access to
I
pretty much
can't
all
stop.
the small
What is the
camp,
fucking
the
button
lane
for
creeps,
stop?
and then some of the creeps in the medium and hard camps. As you level it up by level 5, which is the second level in Death Pact, you can eat pretty much any creep except this one right here, the Satyr Tormentor, and then the Troll Summoner, the green one, with the 2 little trolls next to him. This will give you a burst of health and a heal. So it's going to increase my max health by
Oh, gee.
175 at level 1, 250 onwards, 325, 400, right? This is pretty good in the laning stage because you're an agility hero, you don't have a ton of health, but when you use Death Pact, which has permanent uptime because it lasts 45
Dude,
seconds,
are
and
you
the
fucking
recharge
kidding
time is
me?
40 seconds, you just get a lot of extra health to fight with, or you save it for the middle of a fight. They think they're about to kill you, and then you eat something nearby, a creep. You can eat your own skeletons, and you get that 175 heal, which can surprise them. You also spawn a skeleton, so this has a lot of utility. In the laning stage, when you get into a fight, you can eat a creep, you get that health, you also get a skeleton. And whenever you tar bomb
Get the
someone,
fucking
that
man
skeleton
down,
is going
dude.
to prioritize attacking that hero, and they also get the bonus damage. So it's a lot of damage in these early game fights.
Ah, you bitch, you're
Or
not going
you can
anywhere.
disrupt pulls. This is not a good example because technically I'm doing the pull, I guess, because I've got creeps here. But the enemy comes to do a pull, you walk up, Death Pact is actually a pretty decent range. You just eat one of the creeps, and the camp will aggro to your skeleton, and you'll disrupt the pull, or the pull happens. happens, you still eat one of the creeps, you're weakening the camp so they can't deny as many creeps from you, you're getting some vision from the skeleton, and then you can fight over the camp with your skeleton, your tar bomb. You can kind of like poke at the enemy heroes doing this stuff. Honestly, that's kind of going to be your laning stage. There's not much more to talk about. You just keep throwing tar bombs and slowing people. And I have been buying cheap items to get that extra right click, iron branches, stick if it makes sense, because your spells are pretty cheap and low cooldown. So I think if this catches on, people are going to buy sticks against you because you're spamming tar bomb, which is going to give them more mana to cast more spells. But you only need a few charges from your spells or their spells to get enough mana to use your stuff. Now here, if these camps are blocked or used or whatever, this is something nice you can do with Clinks, as you have at least 1 point in Death Pact, but even better as you get more. I want to give my carry solo XP, but that means I'm not getting any XP, and that feels bad. But you can just instantly kill creeps to get a boost in XP. Now this is not the best example, I'm just getting a little wolf boy here, or a giant wolf I guess. But once you have level 2 Death Pact, you can eat the hard camp creeps, which gives you a nice burst of gold and XP for this early game, and that's going to be your farming tool, or one of your farming tools, throughout the game. You can just instantly eat creeps as you're running around, and that's going to keep you leveled up, whereas other supports are going to have to spend more time sitting in lanes or actually farming jungle camps and taking damage for it. As an example, you can do things like this. I just farmed the hard camp in a second. Very useful, and then the rest of the time I'm running around fighting, and the recharge time is going on this Death Pack because now it has 2 charges. So in about 80 seconds, I can come do this again. Or usually I would say just do like 1 at a time so you can get the bonus health like consistently. But this time I'm just trying to like speed my way up to 6 because we've been, in this particular game, I was starting to have a little bit of issues after the laning stage because we have no lockdown. Surprise, Clinks doesn't provide any control, and they had a lot of mobile heroes, so we were losing some fights. Once you have your level 6, this is your old skeleton walk. Modified, I guess. It allows you to go invis, gives you a burst of speed, and it will spawn 2 skeletons when you pop out of invis. This, combined with the skeleton that pops out when you eat a creep with Death Pack, gives you up to 2 to 3 skeletons for these kind of ganks. In this case, it's right by my own tower, but other times you can go find heroes who are farming, getting low. You can sneakily find the like smoke gank target. You can join fights that they don't expect you to be at, and then once you tar bomb, your creeps or your skeletons prioritize that target. Eventually, you'll take a point in strafe at level 7 to then get a burst of attack speed. I don't have it here, but it gives you 100 attack speed or more, and then your skeletons in the area get 50% of that. The skeletons have to already exist. You can't use it and then create the skeletons. This will give you a surprising amount of damage as support Clinks, even without a lot of items you can see here. I really don't have much in the terms of damage, but Slark here at 50% health, he's going to do a mix of, sure, the tower's hitting him too, but I'm hitting him as well, and we do a surprising amount of damage. We're going to pick up kills like this. Because you're super fast, you can do things like come steal their XP runes, which I should have been a lot more on time about. Forgive me, I'm still getting used to the new patch and getting over the excitement of playing Clink support. But you're super fast. You'll notice I have 500 move speed here with just boots, windlace, and then this massive 30% bonus move speed from your ultimate. It means even when they dust you, you're actually still almost as fast as a regular hero, depending how fast they are. So sometimes they dust you and you still just walk away. Now, besides stealing XP runes, you'll do things like this where you'll come to gank. Now, if they have some kind of mobility or escape like Dark Willow does, I actually can't really like kill her. But you'll notice with the medallion, 1 tar bomb, a couple of auto attacks. I didn't even really strafe here. We've already got her down to half health, and she is going to get away.
Oh, nice.
It's actually not that big of a deal. You'll notice my cooldowns pretty much back up. So the cool thing with Clinks is that you can just come and force these kind of fights, make them get a little low, make them use their escapes. And you're like, whatever, I'll just do it again. Oh, I guess I also have a faded brooch, I forgot. So a little extra movement speed besides just these 2. But because you're so fast and your cooldowns are so low, I didn't get the Dark Willow kill. Oh well. I'm just going to pop it again and start looking for someone else. Here's another fighting example. I was doing pretty well in this game. So you can see, even though I'm behind enemy lines, I'm tanking creeps, I'm fighting here. I can eat these skeletons for these burst heals. I can kite while my skeletons do damage and tar bomb slow them, and then eventually I can just turn and stand my ground. and fight. I can reveal the wards I have to get kills, rip, but we do pick him up. And honestly, I got pretty close to this Void Spirit, but he burst me here at the end. In team fights, you kind of just want to hug the edge of the fight, cast a lot of Tar Bomb. It's a very long cast range, and let your skeletons do work, and then you just attack as you can as well. I'm making some mistakes here. I don't know. I'm pretty new to this click support stuff, but that's the way that I think it's you know, the best feeling fights for me over the games I've played. Just kind of hug the edges, do a lot of slows, and find the next target. You're invis, you're fast. As people are trying to escape, you can go catch up to them, slow them for your team to catch up. As I get better at it, I'll put up some gameplay videos if you want, or drop by my streams on Twitch. You'll see me doing it live, or the VODs if you can't make it live. But just to recap, the skill build will look something like this. It may change going forward, but this is kind of the rough game plan I've been trying, with the Tar Bomb level 1 into Death Pact, and then by level 5 you want the 3 points in Death Pact so you can kill any creep in the game besides Ancients. This will just help you out farming, and you get access to that second charge, which has a lot of utility. I don't know, like I said earlier, what the exact order will be, you know, this and that or whatever, but by level 5, something like this. Level 6, take your ult, of course, and now that you have the skeletons from Skeleton Walk, I think Strafe is worth it. Prior to that, it doesn't, like, it's just you and one skeleton. You don't really have any damage items because you're support, right? I don't see the attack speed being that useful, but now you've probably finished like a medallion, or at least you've got some components like the Blightstone. Now it starts making sense to me to have at least 1 point in Strafe. From here, I don't know. I think you're going to want to max Strafe and Tar Bomb before Death Pact, but which first, I don't know. I'm starting to test it a little bit more, and when I know more, I'll try to share that with you all. I like Tar Bomb because it combos well with this 20 talent to give you 65 extra damage, which works on towers, by the way. I don't know if I remembered to say that, but you win a fight with Tar Bomb, and then you push up to the tower, or maybe they're avoiding you, so you just like split push a lane. You take a tower on your own with Tar Bomb, with your skeletons, with Strafe. The order actually matters, so actually skeletons into Tar Bomb into Strafe. There you go. I like the bonus damage. And even if you can't attack, the extra magic damage from the impact along with the slow and the lower cooldown means you pretty much have permanent uptime on Tar Bomb on various targets. So even as you're not attacking, but maybe your skeletons are, or your teammates are chasing, like, I just think there's a lot of value there, and then get the Strafe afterwards. But maybe more points in Strafe first will be good, especially if you're having a good game and you're getting a lot of damage. For the talent, like I said, I like the 20 Tar Bomb talent. I don't think 18 to 15 seconds on Skeleton Walk makes much sense. For 15, I don't know. 75 attack range might be the way to go, especially thinking about the 20 and 25 talents, because your skeletons do get the attack range, and it will allow you to scale better. The Death Pact charge, though, is pretty nice. Once this is maxed out, right, 400 bonus health, you can't get more bonus health, like 1,200 total. You'll only get 400 bonus health total, but you can get up to 12,000 or 1,200 heal when you use 3 charges quickly. So that could be a nice aspect of Death Pact charge if people are wasting time chasing you, this like super fast skeleton man who keeps eating things as he goes, and you don't even break invis when you do it, right?